Good evening. You're watching a brand new week of Left, Right and Centre. I'm Nidhi Razdan. Tonight, a full-blown political row breaks out over a Pakistani boat intercepted by the Coast Guard last week. Who was on board? Terrorists or smugglers? Also tonight, the Haryana government has announced that the Gita will now be taught in schools. Is the move justified? But first, the big story tonight. The mystery of the Pakistani boat that was intercepted by the Coast Guard last week has now become a full-blown political row. Defence Minister Manohar Parrikar finally broke the government's silence today, saying that those on the boat were what he called suspected terrorists and that smugglers don't commit suicide. The Congress, though, still has many questions, accusing the government of making national security a PR stunt.
Smugglers don't keep in touch with Maritime Pakistani Agency or Maritime Security of Pakistan or their army or international contacts. No one is going to be killing himself unless you are motivated enough to do that.
5 days after a suspect boat allegedly carrying ammunition and explosives sank 197 nautical miles off the coast of Gujarat, there are still more questions than answers. If there were terrorists on board, why did the Ministry of Defence press release simply not state that instead of talking about an illicit transaction? Why did the boat catch fire and simply not explode if indeed explosives were on board? Why has the government of India not lodged a protest with Pakistan yet? The opposition was, however, quick to question the government's version.
We would also request our friends in Bharatiya Janata Party and advise them to not make PR exercises and take false credit on matters of national security.
Making political capital out of security issues is not desirable, but the lack of transparency and gaps in the narrative is bound to fuel more speculation. With Shruti Ranjan Sen in New Delhi, Anusya Mathur for NDTV.
Well, who really was on board that boat? Are we ever really going to know the entire truth about this story? Joining us on the program tonight is Admiral Sushil Kumar, the former Navy Chief, here in the studio with us. Also, Praveen Swami, the Strategic Affairs Editor of the Indian Express, who first wrote the story questioning the government's claims and now finds himself at the centre of protests by right-wing groups today who were burning his photograph outside the Indian Express building. Sambit Patra, spokesperson of the BJP, joins us tonight from Bhubaneswar. Also with us, Randeep Surjewala of the Congress Party and Musharraf Zaidi, a senior political analyst from Pakistan, this evening with us as well. Praveen Swami, let me take this question to you first. Now you have a statement by the Defence Minister today saying, among other things, that these were suspected or possible terrorists. He talks about circumstantial evidence that indicates what he's saying. He also goes on to say that smugglers would not commit suicide. Your first reaction to that, because he's also talked about them being in touch with the Pakistani Maritime Agency and the army. Now, this is the Defence Minister on record. Do you believe that that settles the issue?
Well, without being in possession of the communications intelligence the Defence Minister is privy to, it's very hard to be persuaded or not persuaded by what he said. But I'm afraid the questions, or some of the questions still seem to remain to need answering. Among them, it's entirely possible customs officials were in touch with elements in Pakistan's, the smuggler people on the boat were in touch with people in Pakistan's Navy or customs officials. Collusion is not unknown in this country or in others between these elements. And moreover, the key element still isn't clear. Who were the people on the boat? Who, if we know who they were in touch with, what kind of activity they were discussing. I find it a little odd that we don't know who they were, what they were doing, and if they were engaged in an activity to do with terrorism, as you quite correctly pointed out in the questions at the head of this show, why we haven't gone and protested about it. If someone involving, linked to the Pakistan Navy, Pakistan military was planning a terror attack on Indian soil, surely it's a serious matter the government should be taking up.
The other question, though, is that Manohar Parrikar says a smuggler wouldn't commit suicide. Okay. Now, when you question that, then you're questioning the claims made by the Coast Guard that these people blew themselves up in the boat. Then you're essentially saying that no, they were shot at. perhaps by the Coast Guard, and then it caught fire. Are you questioning that basic claim?
I am saying that the circumstances in which the boat blew up are not yet clear. the Defence Ministry's own press release spoke of explosive matter on the boat in its very first line. Today we have the Defence Minister saying something else, which is he doesn't want to speculate on this matter. This statement coming after a barrage of criticism from experts who've seen the photos. The Coast Guard says that it fired shots in front of this boat. In swells and at sea, if someone opens up with a machine gun, for a couple of bullets to go astray, maybe hit fuel, would not be beyond the realm of imagination. I think there is enough here for the government to investigate seriously, to look at forensic, look at the debris and study the forensic material that can be recovered from the site of this evidence, to look for the bodies of the 4 people. Because at this stage, let us remember, we don't even know for a fact who they were, what they were doing. Surely if the government believes there was a terror link to this, the government should be working very hard to find out.
Admiral Sushil Kumar, let me get you into weighing on this, because I know that politically this will become a huge issue in the next few minutes. But how do you see the way this story has played out over the last few days? I mean, at the end of the day, Praveen Swami also as a journalist is just doing his job. He's just asking questions. Is that no longer allowed anymore? What's going on?
Basically this is a straightforward maritime operation conducted by our security forces based on what I gather was actionable intelligence, and it was well coordinated, successfully conducted, and the end result was these desperados, as I would see it, have done a harakiri. And this is not the first time that we have had such an incident at sea. There have been dozens of such incidents. But why is this one becoming so politicized? That is the mystery.
Has there been any other incidents where we have shot people at sea?
There have been many incidents where desperados have been caught just before they have scuttled the ship, tried to blow it up. As Director of Naval Operations, we conducted Operation Cactus.
But when you say desperados, what do you mean? I mean,
this was a rebel ship that was
terrorists, smugglers. Who are they?
They were terrorists. They were nabbed because they attacked Malé, and then they were captured by the Indian Navy 1,000 kilometers in the mid-Indian Ocean. They tried to blow up the ship. They tried to kill the hostages.
Why not? Then why shouldn't the government just say that?
You see, I'll tell you what the problem is. There are many aspects of such a clandestine, highly sensitive operation which cannot be disclosed, and it should not be disclosed, because after all we are dealing with inimical forces. There's also a fundamental difference. You know, there's a vast difference between the maritime regime, the maritime dimension, and what happens on land. And that is where I think the fundamental confusion is taking place. The maritime dimension is an international regime where international forces operate. Anyone can transit these open highways. So it makes it very easy for a boat to infiltrate without being checked.
Okay, Praveen has a quick
rebuttal. I wonder how Admiral Kumar and others would react if Pakistan, at the outer periphery of its economic exclusive zone, were to find an Indian boat with 4 Indian crew, blow it up saying there were terrorists on board who committed suicide, or have it blow up, and then refuse to answer any questions on the identity of the individuals killed. Would you see that as a lawful action?
I mean, then maybe not put out a press release at all. We wouldn't have known.
There is a point which hasn't been
just let me just get the rest of the panel to respond to this. And Sambit Patra, let me take this question to you first, which would be that, you know, on day one, you actually, as the spokesperson of the BJP, immediately said that a 26/11 type terror attack was prevented, that Pakistan has not learnt its lessons. And you have the defense minister's statement today a little more measured than what you said on day one. Are you saying with absolute certainty, there is no certainty with which the government is saying that a Mumbai type attack was averted, you know, today? There is a question mark that even the defense minister is leaving open. Sambit.
With all certainty, even today I maintain, as most of us maintain, that it was a probable terror attack. And that's what we had said right from the very beginning. It was a probable terror attack designed to be a 26/11 part 2, because with all similarities that it had with 26/11, It also had a statement by Mr. R.K. Dovan, the Chief of Navy, about a month ago, when he had in fact said that terror might be coming through the sea route. We have to be very careful. Terror may be coming from Pakistan, because the Pakistani army as such, the Pakistani Navy as such, has been infiltrated by jihadi forces. So it was but natural that when explosive laden ship or a boat was coming from Pakistan, originating from Karachi, which blew itself up, it was very natural that any Indian in fact would suspect that a probable terror attack was planned, and very thankful to the Coast Guards, thankful to the intelligence agencies of the country that it was averted at the right time. What was wrong in this? What was wrong in thanking the Coast Guards? And I was listening to Mr. Praveen Swami, and with due respect I would say, just a second.
Yeah, 1 second. Praveen has a quick question for you on this particular point.
Let me complete, and thereafter I'll answer
one
this
second,
question.
1 second.
You have asserted on national television that explosives were laden on the boat. Neither the defense minister nor the defense ministry have made this assertion. On what basis are you making it? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'd just like to know on what basis you're making it, because neither the minister nor the ministry have made this claim.
No, Mr. Praveen Swami.
He can tell you, but then he'd have to kill you.
Mr. Praveen Swami, let me rebut you back.
He can tell you, but then he'd have to kill you.
I'm asking you a question. I'm not arguing.
Can I rebut you back?
Musharraf, just give me a second. Sambit, just answer the question, please. Like,
can I answer?
Yeah, sure.
Can I answer?
Sure.
Nidhi, if I am right, none of us in the panel right now, including you, are experts in intelligence agencies. We are simply panelists and politicians or journalists. None of us are expert over here. So, I am expert only in the field of the fact that a democratically elected government, if it says that the boat is a suspicious boat, then I believe in the words of my government. I do not question the government in a way which gives ammunitions to the enemy state, that is Pakistan. I would not do that. I would say very humbly over here that I am not the intelligence guy. I am a politician. I am supposed to think about the benefit of this country. I am supposed to stand by the government of my country.
Mr. Patra, I am not impugning your patriotism. You are far better a patriot than me.
How does Mr. Praveen Swami know all the details of the operation which is so covered? How does Mr. Praveen Swami know the details of the operation?
We're asking how you know first.
You can ask me back. If you have any questions to ask me, I'd be delighted to answer them. I'm answering on what authority you are saying there are explosives.
Does the DJP know something more than the government?
No, it seems that you all are very disturbed when I support the government. Allow me the time. I'm just
but the government hasn't made the claim you're making, Mr. Patra. That's why we're asking you.
Nidhi, I could have watched the show from home.
No. Okay, gentlemen, 1 second.
The government. Can I complete? Can I complete, Mr. Praveen Swami? Why are you so disturbed? You have asked me a question. Let me answer.
We're not disturbed.
Let me answer.
Nobody is disturbed, Sambit. You're not answering the question. Please do answer.
No, but it appears that you all are disturbed.
I mean, like,
you're not allowing me to answer, Mr. Praveen Swami. Look, if you look into the press statement of the government, the press statement states that the boat is, the boat or ship, whatever it is, that was a suspicious ship. It was a suspicious boat, and it blew itself up. It exploded. It blew itself up. Naturally, if something blows itself up, there is something which we call would be either explosives
what's happening
or fire.
Here is that it is that very claim of the government that is being questioned. It is that very claim of the government that is being questioned in sections of the press.
Now you are saying the government does not. Now you are saying that the government does not speak about this, and now you are saying that the government is under question.
I am saying that is a claim that is being questioned. People have a right to question the claim.
Government of India.
BJP spokespersons not letting Indians speak. How will you let Pakistan?
I just want to know how the story is playing out. Sambit, give me a moment, please. I have a rule here now. The mics will come down. We want everyone to get a chance to speak. Musharraf, how is this story playing out in Pakistan at the moment? What's the reaction from there?
Well, if I'm totally honest, we have a massive national crisis that was triggered. I mean, the crisis has been ongoing, as many friends in India know, but the attention that we've been paying to this crisis has been triggered by the massacre of our children in Peshawar on the 16th of December. There is a parliamentary debate on the constitutional amendments that are going to set up military courts. There's a number of affiliated and associated issues that the country is dealing with. There's a lot of tension on the working boundary today. Again, an 18-year-old Pakistani boy and another Pakistani woman. Both civilians were killed because of Indian shelling. The terror boat incident, as it's being called in India, I think it happened maybe 4 or 5 days ago, and as given the pace of everything else that's happening here, it is not front and center. I don't think it's even on page 9 or 10. I mean, it's the pace of bad news here is much higher. Good news or bad news is much higher seemingly than it is in India, where this is clearly a very big issue. I
do want to know, Musharraf, I'll just come back to you in a moment, because I want to bring the Congress party in, because there is an implication of how all of this is playing out in the India-Pakistan relationship as well, at a time when things are already very tense on the border. Randeep Singh Surjewala, one of the criticisms that the Congress is facing today is for politicizing this issue. It is a national security matter, but has it been completely politicized by the opposition today in a way that isn't quite right? If you have questions, was there a different way to raise it, is the point?
Well, Nidhi, let me first thank you by bringing me into the debate. I've been waiting patiently. There are 3 aspects to the whole controversy. Everybody who questions the government on an issue of national security does not become unpatriotic, as some friends from Bharatiya Janata Party have sought to question. They don't become Pakistanis because they ask for answers on the issues of national security from the government. Number 2, what has happened in this case? Bharatiya Janata Party spokespersons in an official press conference said it was 26/11/2. I think I also heard my friend saying almost the same thing now on your channel. Defense Ministry does not use the word terror. They say the occupants of the boat set the boat on fire, and consequently the boat was burnt, and neither the occupants nor the boat could be saved. The words explosive laden boat is not used by the Defense Ministry. The Defense Minister's statement today, he says there is circumstantial evidence, meaning thereby there is a doubt. Express report, Praveen is here, and I'm sure he will tell you how he has got that information if he would like to disclose. Talks about a conflict of opinion between NTRO on one side, IB, military intelligence, and RAW on the other side. Do we not, as citizens of this country, have a right to ask the government whether so-called blowing up of this boat is a PR exercise? We are very conscious about national security issues. We are very proud of Coast Guards.
May I object to this statement?
There are pertinent questions. Who are its occupants?
I object to this statement whether it was a boat laden with
explosives. How is government ready to deal with terrorist threats, if any of this nature? Which terrorist organization was this? Did Government of India really protest and take up this issue with the Pakistan government?
I have the same question.
What is Government of India going to do to prevent all these? These
are
relevant questions.
Sambit Patra, why hasn't this issue then been taken up with Pakistan at a diplomatic level? Because if indeed a 26/11 type terror attack has been prevented, it is huge, and therefore we should have gone to town with it and summoned the High Commissioner, lodged a protest. I would have expected that maybe even the PM would say something on it. It's quite a big thing if that's happened. Why no protest?
Why are you guys so eager to go to town on us?
Today, very candidly, I'm saying this. I'm feeling extremely pained today. Don't allow me to speak. I have no problem. I'll sit here and listen to all the anti-India things that are being said over here. I have no problem.
Why are they anti-India? I take strong objection to that. I take strong objection to people asking questions being labelled anti-national and anti-India.
I take very serious
That's very unfair.
No.
Nobody is anti-India for asking a question. Sambit Patra, the question was, why hasn't the government
going to kill Pakistani citizens? I'm anti-India.
And the Pakistani guest is blaming India, and we all are blaming India. Look, Nidhi, we have a Pakistani friend also. I call him a friend. He is pointing fingers towards India. He is saying that India is responsible for the ceasefire violation, for killing of civilians in Pakistan. We are not questioning him.
It is responsible.
You are questioning the government.
Please
and
question me.
This is the reason as to why
not my first time on Indian television,
I hang my head in shame that today in my country,
and there's only
I have
only
to
three
answer.
of you today.
And the Pakistani guest does not have to
6,
answer.
7.
He feels more at home, and I feel out of home. He feels more at home.
I feel very much at home. We have many of you like you here in Pakistan. We have many like you here in Pakistan as well, Sambit ji.
The government may take up this issue with Pakistan.
I feel right
How
at
do
home
you know?
with you.
How do you know the
I'm
government
only
will not
asking
take up this
Sambit,
issue?
Sambit,
And why do you preempt?
1 second. First of all,
why do you
no
preempt
lectures
that the
on
government will
nationalism
not
to
take up
anybody.
this
Thank
issue
you.
with the government
One second.
of Pakistan?
1 second. My simple question is.
No, I am not questioning anyone's nationalism.
My simple question is, please answer the question, Sambit Patra.
I am not questioning anyone's nationalism. I am feeling pain. Very candidly I am saying this.
Sambit, please listen
because
to the
my
question.
friend from
Sambit,
Pakistan right now pointed fingers
you.
towards India. He said that India was responsible for ceasefire violation.
The ceasefire violation is a different story. We're not talking about that.
We all listened to him. No one objected.
1 second, Sambit.
No, I heard him. I heard him that he said India was responsible for death of civilians in Pakistan. And here we are, Indians, so-called Indians listening to him.
Patra, why has the government of India...
I better not go on a voting trip anytime soon.
1 second. Sambit Patra, why has the government of India not lodged a strong diplomatic protest with Pakistan over this boat? It's been what, 4 days, 5 days? Why hasn't it happened?
How do you know?
Because it hasn't.
How do you know? How do you know, Ms. Nidhi Rajdan, that the government will not take up this issue with the government of Pakistan with the passage of time?
We are asking why it hasn't happened till now.
How do we preempt?
Because you are the one, Sambit Patra, you are the one on day one who said that Pakistan did this. Since you were so sure, my question is, since you already know that this is Pakistan that has done this, why haven't we lodged the protest?
No, I am still saying this. Nidhi, I am still saying this, that most of the terrorist activities that take place in India, rather almost all the terrorist activities that take place in India or probable terrorist activities that would have taken place in India are because of Pakistan.
That is a different question.
And I do not feel shame.
That is a different... That is a different
no,
point, Sambit, on this particular incident.
People blew up a train killing Pakistani citizens.
I'm
ashamed of my
you said on day one that this was a 26/11 type attack, which Pakistan is responsible for.
Had nothing to do with Pakistan except
it was a probable 26. Nidhi ji, it was a probable 26/11 like attack. I stand by my statement. We all stand by our statement.
Why haven't we
protested? It was a probable terror attack. How do you know we will not protest? Now, how do you know we will not protest?
Will you?
Let the evolving process get completed.
Because the External Affairs Minister of India yesterday held a press conference, didn't say a word about it. You haven't called the Pakistan High Commissioner. Prime Minister of India has not spoken. We are concerned citizens about national security. Sambit, for heaven's sake, Prime Minister of the country, particularly when it relates to his home state,
no, not heaven's sake. For heaven's sake,
must say it's a terrorist attack. Must say we will take preventive action. Must say that we will protect citizens of this country. Must call the High Commissioner if this is so. Must lodge a very strong protest bilaterally as also at international forum. Why are you not doing it? Why are you not playing with national security?
1 second.
That is the question.
Let me get a quick comment from Musharraf Zaidi. Musharraf Zaidi, what are the, there are serious implications to this. I'm sure you would understand. Look, as far as India is concerned, because so many things have emanated from Pakistan as far as terrorism in India is concerned, there is a great deal of anxiety over this. There is a great deal of anxiety about terrorists using the sea route again and possibly trying another 26/11 type attack. And therefore, I'm sure you would understand the anxieties in India about this.
I do. I think some of the anxieties are certainly legitimate. And questions should be answered. And in a better world, Nidhi, both countries would be working together to establish whether or not this was a smuggler's ring, and if it was, what kind of communities were being affected by their evil work. And both countries should be working together on things like anti-narcotics. But we're light years away from that kind of a situation. The last 6-7 months, I mean, this BJP government and people like Sambit ji, who I'll call a friend for the sake of calling a friend anytime. But the things that have been happening in this relationship, mostly prompted by India in the last 6 months, is a very worrying sign for the future of the region and for the future of the relationship between the two countries.
Well, I think that there are things happening on both sides, Musharraf. It's not just India.
Sambit Patra, just give me a second.
All right, mics down, everybody. Let me just ask Musharraf Zaidi the question. Musharraf Zaidi, it's not a one-way street. It's not India that is escalating tensions alone. There are things that are happening from the Pakistani side. I'm sure you would acknowledge that those need to be addressed as well.
without doubt, fire is being exchanged across the border and needless lives are being lost. Needless lives within the BSF, within the Pakistan Rangers, and among innocent citizens on both sides of the border. And all of this is needless, and we've been saying this over and over again. Praveen has been doing this. You've been doing this now for what? Almost 2 decades. We've been having the same conversation over and over again. Whether it was the 90s or was the first decade of this century, or it's now, we're halfway through the second decade, and we keep going back to the same story over and over and over again, and we always agree that this shouldn't be happening, and somehow people like Sambitji and hawks on my side of the border are the ones that get to make the decisions, and innocent people keep dying.